Hello and welcome back to another episode of Sexology Podcast. I am so excited and honored to welcome my friend and one of my wonderful colleagues, Melissa Dumas. Melissa, welcome to our show.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Nazanin. It's awesome to be here and to have this conversation with you today.
I know that for some of my clients, they have a concept of family bed, that they have their children sleeping in their bed. What are some of the suggestions you have for those couples?
I have known couples as well, bed share or that co-sleep up until their children reach a certain age. I've heard a variety of things. I've heard some couples that say they will transfer the children into their own beds for a couple of hours or the amount of time that they want to spend together, and then they'll bring the children back. I have also heard that couples say that they will leave the children in the bed and they will go to another room, or if they are wanting to add some level of novelty to it, then they'll go to the living room or to the kitchen, or if they live in a home where they can venture into the backyard. So that is an opportunity to get creative and to, again, go back to the understanding that lovemaking it's not confined to the bedroom. Lovemaking is not confined to the bed. It could be wherever that you feel safe and comfortable to engage, and as we've been calling, to connect and reconnect with your partner. And so being open to the ideas. And if you even want to make a game out of it, you can even have each of you write the places within your home that you would like to make love, put them in a hat, and then draw from there. Like, okay, well, Tuesday night, this is where we're making love. Friday night, this is where we're making love. So everyone gets a chance at the place that they have dreamed or fantasized about making love within the household that is outside of the bedroom where you may be co-sleeping.
I love all of these creative solutions you're offering. And I think it's a matter of kind of having flexibility. I think I tell parents that sometimes they have this vision of like perfect, quote unquote, perfect sex that things need to be perfect unless we're not having sex. But with having a child and parenting, as long as you are like having good enough sex, I think you're doing fantastic. I tell people like B- sex, it can be great. Like if you're having consistent B- sex, I know that like grading for sex doesn't make sense. But even if you're thinking about grading, like B- sex versus having A+ sex once every 2 years. Like which one would you want? So I think it's important to think about that as well.
Right, absolutely. And with the idea of being open and flexible to look at that entire season of life as things are changing. And so our family is changing and growing. That means we are also changing and growing, which also impacts our relationship. And that's changing and growing too. And so remembering to be open to try new things, to be open to hear each other out and to communicate like, that's not working for me, I want to try this now, because we don't know if we're going to enjoy sex in the kitchen, sex in the living room, sex outside of the bedroom, unless we've at least tried it.
Absolutely, I agree. And at times I get couples that they bring that, and I can imagine that would be the case for you as well. Like they kind of in a way drag their partner for couples therapy because they are so sexually frustrated from their partner because of like the kind of the early period of parenting, whether they felt that their partner was not sexually available, or right now they feel like they're not interested anymore, just like because of those challenges. And they're not being communicative of those needs can really impact the relationship. So something that was at the early on, it was about sexual frustration. Now it's about you're not a good partner for me, or leads to all sorts of things. So when a partner feels the sexual frustration, how do you recommend them to communicate that with the partner? Of course, it's a very, at times, complicated situation because your partner is attending to kind of your child. So I think it's important to keep that in mind. But tell us, I know like communication is one of those ninja tricks that you have. So tell us some of your ninja tricks.
I think that one of the key factors in communicating, and this is something I teach all of my clients, couples or not, is the use of I statements. And if you are listening to this episode and you've heard me speak anywhere else, I am a big fan of I statements. And I think that, commonly when we address our frustration, sexual frustration, or dissatisfaction in a relationship, it is very easy to go to a place of blaming, even if that's not your intent. But the beauty of an I statement is that it automatically puts you in position where you're not blaming, where you're taking ownership over your own feelings. You're taking ownership over expressing your feelings and letting your partner know how you feel and the reason that you feel that way. And that opens the communication up rather than closing it and shutting down. Because naturally, if someone feels blamed for how you feel, then they are going to get defensive, or they may shut down themselves, or they may find ways to defend themselves. And so if I say, I feel really sexually frustrated because we have not been making love the way that we used to, or making love as much as I desire, then that opens it up. But if I say, you make me sexually frustrated because you're not having sex with me, then it's like, well, what did I do? All I did was have a baby, and it's easy to then want to defend ourselves or to feel like our partner doesn't understand. And so if I can use an I statement, then I open up the communication and I allow room for compassion. I allow room for empathy, and I allow room for both of us to talk and share about where we are, because the other partner may be feeling the same way, but maybe their sex drive is low. Maybe they're, and if it's a woman, who just had the baby, maybe it's her hormones that are still balancing back out, because postpartum is a big thing too, and there's a big shift in a woman's hormones. And if it's a mom who's nursing, that can play an impact in her as well. Me being a mom of 3, I know that feeling of like children clamoring all over you all day long, or even, in full transparency, being a mom of 3 who nurse, that feeling of like, I just want my body to myself. But your partner doesn't know that if you haven't openly had that communication. If your response has been push away, I don't want to, without communicating as to the reasons why.
I think so many great points that you mentioned. I think all of them, those are very valid and important. And I think also for people to think about, hearing someone doesn't mean you have to do something about it. You have the choice of doing something about it. But I also see sometimes that people feel that, okay, my partner is saying this. If I let them say that, it means that I have to have sex with them and I don't have the desire. I have painful sex, all of those things. So the anxiety shows up and we want to shut down the conversation. But if showing that, okay, they have the right to have their own experiences. And as a partner, I'm here for them. But again, having my own back and kind of talking about my own experiences, it can help with opening up that, as you mentioned, the dialogue, and kind of thinking about the flexibility of maybe you have a desire and I don't have an appetite. So what can we do right now to have those connections? I have many of clients that they kind of like do mutual masturbation or sensual massages, or kind of like even change the relationship agreement. I know some of my clients, they don't like before the agreement was like, if you're kind of engaging in solo experiences and you're masturbating, that's not okay. But then now maybe it could be a kind of way of kind of renegotiating and revisiting those conversations.